Hello and welcome to my channel Sporting Success with Sarah. So today we're going to talk about a very important topic, which is self-criticism. Now, every athlete goes through some form of self-critical voice in their head at some point or the other in their career. We are going to cover three different areas. Firstly, understanding why we self-criticize. Secondly, how to identify that your self-criticism is impacting you negatively. And thirdly, what can you do to change that self-critical voice? Now, firstly, why do we self-criticize? So the thing is that our minds are always chasing emotions, and we always want to feel good emotions. Nobody wants to feel negative emotions. And that becomes a motivating factor for us to take action and change something about ourselves. What this means is that by self-criticizing, we almost deplete ourselves of positive emotions like joy, peace of mind, and enjoyment with our sport. And when we deplete ourselves of that emotion, it motivates us to feel those emotions again, which means that self-criticism is actually helping you to motivate yourself. And this isn't untrue. But when do we come to a point where the same self-critical voice starts to become a bit of a problem and it makes you doubt yourself too much? It starts impacting your self-esteem. So one of the ways to identify that the self-critical voice is really impacting you is noticing how you talk to yourself after you've made a mistake. Especially when you're trying to learn a new skill or you're in a new environment, or you're competing in a certain age group or with a team for the first time. And how badly do you beat yourself up when you've made a minor mistake, and how long does that stay with you? That's one of the signs when you need to start addressing your self-criticism. The second one is where you start doubting yourself and feel extremely anxious before you go into training or you're going into a big competition because you almost already feel like you're not going to be able to do it. That means that it's impacting your self-esteem and your self-confidence, and it's making you doubt yourself. And if that is a result of the voice in your head, which you've been noticing, which is, I'm not good enough, this is not something I can do, I can't even do this much, everybody else can do it, but I can't. Those are the examples of your self-critical voice. And the reason why you want to change that is because it's causing a neural pathway and an association of you beating yourself up and using that as a motivator. You don't want to use that as a motivator. You want to use things like enjoyment, wanting to improve and wanting to be better, and doing that without having to beat yourself up to motivate yourself. So it's quite ironic how self-criticism actually works. Now, the first thing you can do to address that self-criticism is write down all the reasons why you're criticizing yourself and what for. And this can be anything like, I couldn't even win this tournament. I couldn't even, complete that skill. Everybody else can do it. I've not got to where I wanted to by now. So all of these are reasons for you to criticize yourself. Once you have done that, you have processed, your thoughts around self-criticism by actually allowing those thoughts rather than suppressing it. Because when you suppress those thoughts, they suddenly kind of trigger more negative emotion when you're in those situations. So once you've done that, what you want to do next is more exciting, which is write down all your strengths that you have. Now, the reason why we're writing about our strengths is not to replace it with a weakness. We are doing it so we can use the strengths to convert our weaknesses into strengths again. Because if you don't have strengths, that you can use, you won't be able to convert your weakness and transform it into a strength. For example, if you are a hard worker, write that down, that I work very hard. Another strength can be, I am very good with communicating with my coach and asking for help, and I can do exactly what they say and improve myself. Another strength can be, I don't give up under pressure. I can really go for it under pressure. I have the courage. So these are your strengths. The reason why you want to write down these strengths is so that you can remind yourself in those moments of, self-doubt and self-criticism that, I do have this strength and I can use it. Even though I'm criticizing myself, I can use it to change whatever I'm feeling or thinking, or actually put it into practice by using this strength. So once you've done that, you have processed your self-critical voice and that feeling of self-criticism in a cognitive way. Okay. The next part is dealing with the feeling of self-criticism, what you feel after you've criticized yourself and how low you get. Okay. The way to do this is by finding a self-compassion meditation on YouTube, whichever one works for you, and listening to that every night before bed or every morning when you wake up. The reason why you want to use self-compassion is to recalibrate your emotions with those particular situations so that those situations don't trigger, self-criticism, but they trigger self-compassion. When you do self-compassion meditation, you're offering yourself some love, some peace, and, cut yourself some slack. That's basically what you're doing. By doing that, you are kind of changing the way your body responds to those situations. And you're changing the way your body wants to feel and your mind wants to feel motivated. And you're trying to break that cycle of criticizing yourself to motivate yourself. So make sure you do these two things, which are extremely important to kind of deal with self-criticism and make sure it doesn't impact your self-esteem. The last thing that I want to let you know is that remember that you're an athlete, but you're also a human being. And you need to acknowledge that if your athletic career is not going well, there are other parts of your life that you can look at. For example, your relationships, your relationship with your parents, your relationship with your friends, how you can be there for them. It can be your academics and your second career that you're really good at. So you're always good at something. And just because, things may not be going well in your athletic career doesn't mean that you're just like worthless. Okay. So whenever you're criticizing yourself too much, remind yourself of all the other things beside your sport as well that you're really good at and you're doing well. And this will allow you to feel at peace with yourself, allow you to understand why you're doing your sport and why it's important for you to stop criticizing yourself, okay? Or even if you do, to address it after you've criticized yourself a lot, okay? So I hope this video has helped you. And if you do have any questions or concerns, make sure you go onto my website, sarahmajid.com, and contact me, email me, and let me know how you get on with it. So I hope this is helpful. Take care of yourself and bye-bye.